So tonight we're going to finish up talking about tort law, which we started last week. And then we'll get through that, and then we'll talk about, do some review for the midterm. Midterm is next week at our normal time. And then we'll talk about that tonight at the end of class. So just to remind you guys what we were finished up with last time, we were talking about tort law. Again, tort law is civil, and that is where there has been a wrongful act, where somebody then can sue another person that committed that act in civil court. And we had been talking about intentional torts, which we'll continue on with here in a minute, and then we'll talk about negligence and strict liability. So these are the three broad categories of tort law. So back to intentional torts on page 56. And if I remember correctly, we had left off right here. So, malicious prosecution. Malicious prosecution, again, an intentional tort, which means that this must be done purposefully. And essentially, it involves initiation of criminal charges or using the criminal justice system in an improper manner. Now, this could be somebody initiating a false police report, which is also a crime, or it could be a law enforcement officer or a prosecutor that initiates an unjustified criminal case against another person, or there's no reasonable or no probable cause, and it's not done in good faith, basically. So pretty straightforward, using the criminal justice system inappropriately. All right, next page over. Abuse of process. This is very similar. In some states, it would be the same thing. But typically, when we talk about the tort of abuse of process, we're primarily talking about using the civil court system for an improper purpose, like a nuisance suit. So an example of that might be, let's say you're my neighbor, and for whatever reason I don't like you. And I really want to try to get you to move out. And so I go down to small claims court like every other day. And I file a lawsuit against you in small claims court. And so the lawsuits are basically just frivolous. So like one day I file a lawsuit against you because you left your porch light on all night. The next day, I file another small claims case because you parked your car in your own driveway at an angle. It wasn't straight in. And I sue you the next day because you didn't put your hose on your front porch in a nice, even, round pile. You just kind of left it out there. I mean, just garbage, right? So essentially, I'm using the civil court system improperly. So then you would counterclaim back against me alleging abuse of process as an intentional tort. So basically using the civil court system unlawfully. All right, the next tort goes by different names, but basically it amounts to lying, telling the truth, not telling the truth, in some type of a transaction. So some places, this would be in old common law, it was called deceit or fraud. Misrepresentation, may be called failure to disclose. They go by different names depending on what state you're in. But all of these basically are the same thing, and that is the idea that I lied to you about a material issue, or in some cases I did not tell you about a known problem. I failed to disclose, like the roof leaks and I know it leaks, but I don't tell you that in a real estate transaction for residential property. Or I know that the sewer is all backed up or something. And so basically I lie to you. You rely upon it, and as a result, when you find out that there's a problem that I lied about or didn't disclose. Question?
Failure to disclose would be similar to omission?
Yeah, omission of fact. So I put the term up here as is. This is a term that's commonly used in contract law. And basically, this is a term that essentially is telling the buyer that the buyer is under an obligation to do their own investigation. It's called due diligence. And that the seller is not making any representations about the condition. You also will see that in used car transactions. So a used car dealer by law has to tell you if there's a warranty of any type, and if not, they have to say it's as is. There's a little sticker that goes on a used car where they indicate either there's no warranty or there is a warranty. If there's no warranty, it's sold as is, and then you have to take it to a mechanic or something ahead of time to have it looked at. All right. Next one, trespass. Trespassing is a physical invasion of land. This could be entering onto property or building without permission, or remaining after you've been told to leave, or causing something or somebody to enter without authority, or putting something on somebody's property, like I go dump a bunch of garbage on your front lawn or something. That's a form of a physical invasion. Or if I invade your airspace, maybe, I don't know what the exact foot level would be, but, maybe 100 feet above your house or something, like with the drone or something like that. So that would be a physical invasion. That's what I want you to focus on, physical. Now a nuisance, again, this is an intentional tort. This is similar, but it's a non-physical invasion. So this is where I am doing something that interferes with your, sometimes it's called quiet enjoyment of your property. But it's not a physical invasion. So, maybe I've got my meth lab going and I'm cooking meth, and the smell of my meth lab's drifting over into your house. Or I'm playing my electric guitar at all hours of the night, and I have my amp cranked up to 11, because it goes to 11. What movie is that? Spinal Tap. My morning class didn't know. Yeah. If you haven't seen Spinal Tap, it's old school. All right? So it's a non-physical invasion. That's what I want you to know between these two. All right? So what about this? You guys know what Roundup is? Weed killer, right? So let's say I'm spraying Roundup and it drifts over onto your rose bushes and kills your rose bushes. Is that a trespass or a nuisance? It's kind of a tough one, isn't it? Yeah, it's trespass. It'd be a physical invasion, right? And you can sue you for the value of the roses. All right. Next one, letter L, conversion. This is the civil equivalent of stealing, theft, or damaging somebody's property, which in criminal law in Oregon we call criminal mischief. So I take your property, or I don't return it, or I damage it, or I destroy it, I use it without permission. In other words, I've converted your property to my own use. And therefore you can sue me for the monetary damage, the value for repair, or the value of the property that I didn't return, or a court order ordering me to return it to you, or all of the above. Pretty straightforward. And then finally we have letter M, which is wrongful death. That is the civil equivalent of homicide. And this is basically where somebody did something either intentionally or negligently, which we'll get to in a minute. That was a cause or partially a cause of somebody's death. Either on purpose, which would be a crime, or negligently, which may or may not be a crime, depending on how it occurred. So, for the test, page 56 and 57, 100% for sure, right? This will be a fill in the blank on the midterm next week, for sure, guaranteed. So the question would be something like, list 4 or up to 6 types of intentional torts. So there's 17 on these 2 pages. So out of those 17, you have a list up to 6 of them. The other thing I want you to know is basically which one might apply. Like I'll give you a fact pattern, like I sprayed my Roundup and it went on your roses. Which tort is most applicable to that situation? And that would be a trespass. Or I published an article about you in the newspaper that was false. Which tort was most likely to apply? That would be libel, defamation, libel. All right, so let's move on because I got to get to negligence. All right, page 59. Another 100% for sure. Hold on just a minute here. Hey, Alex, go ahead and fill it for a second.